Hello everybody, this is Austin Beeman. You're watching austinbeeman.com, and we are here in the Napa Valley. Precisely, we are on top of Mount Veeder at Meredith. This is a Syrah producer. Their 2007 Syrah made only 850 cases, so this is a micro producer of extremely high quality.
Well, this is Steve Legier and I'm Carol Meredith, and we are here at our vineyard, Legier Meredith Vineyard. We live here and we have about 4 acres of vineyard here that we developed ourselves. There were no vines on the property when we bought it in 1986, and we started planting vineyard, and we harvested our first fruit in 1996, and our first commercial wine we produced in 1998. So we've now been going for over 10 years, and we're very pleased with the quality of the wine that we get off this property. What you see behind us here is some other vineyards in the Mount Veeder appellation. That's what this area is called. Mount Veeder is one of several mountain appellations in the Napa Valley. And it is the southernmost. You've probably heard of some of the others: Spring Mountain, Howell Mountain, Diamond Mountain, Atlas Peak. But Mount Veeder is the southernmost appellation, and actually down in the distance to the south you can actually see the northernmost part of San Francisco Bay. And that's a very important element in our landscape because that is a pathway for the cool ocean air. So in the summertime, when the Napa Valley floor may be, say, 85 or 90 degrees, we're getting this cool breeze coming directly off the Pacific Ocean in the afternoon, and it's regular. I mean, every afternoon it can really blow, and it keeps the temperature 5 to 10 degrees cooler. This is Spike. Hi, Spike. So it keeps the temperature 5 to 10 degrees cooler here than on the Napa Valley floor. So all of Mount Veeder is generally a cool appellation. So the other mountains in Napa are usually well known for their Cabernet, but they're warmer, and Mount Veeder, the southernmost part of Mount Veeder, is actually a little on the cool side for Cabernet, and that's why we are such a good spot for Syrah here. So when we bought this property in 1986 and we wanted to decide what to grow here, we looked at the aspect and the topography and the climate, and also some of our own wine preferences and wine experiences, and we decided to plant Syrah. This was back now in the late 80s, around 1990, when we were making this decision, and there really wasn't much Syrah in California at the time, but we'd had a few that we liked. But we also traveled to the Northern Rhone, and we were fortunate enough to know Jean-Louis Chauve of the family that makes wine in Hermitage, and got to spend some time with them in their vineyards and at their home, and became really taken with their wine and with the place where they grew their grapes. And Jean-Louis actually came to visit us here once before we planted anything, and we told him that, you know, Jean-Louis, we're thinking about planting Syrah here. We think with our site and our soil and our topography and our climate, we really think Syrah would do well. And he looked out over our view, and we have a view of the Napa Valley. We're pretty high up here. And Jean-Louis looked at me and he said, Carol, you know, I think Syrah will do really well here because Syrah loves a view. By which he meant that Syrah does really well on hillsides. And that was one of the reasons that we chose to plant Syrah here. Another reason was because Syrah does well in a place that's not too warm. If it's warm enough to reliably ripen Cabernet year after year, it's probably a little too warm for Syrah. And we knew that we were a relatively cool site, especially with our summer breezes coming in off the bay. So we decided to plant Syrah because we thought we had the right situation for it. We also have very shallow soils. Because we're a mountain vineyard, we have very shallow soils, which means they don't hold a lot of nutrients, they don't hold a lot of water. which means that the vines will naturally stay in balance. Syrah, if you grow it on the valley floor where you have deep alluvial soils, Syrah can get pretty vigorous and it can be quite hard to manage. And you can bring the vine into balance and balance the canopy with the crop, but it can be a struggle. Whereas up here, because we have these sort of naturally restraining conditions, it works out to be perfect for Syrah in that our vines are naturally balanced and we don't have to constantly fight vigor like we would if we were on the valley floor. So we end up with the right temperature, the right kind of soil, the nice hillsides. That works out really well for Syrah, and it gives us a very complex Syrah. You can grow Syrah in a lot of places. It's a very adaptable grape. But if you grow Syrah in warm places, you can end up with a nice fruity wine, but that's pretty much all you get. You get a fairly simple wine. If you grow Syrah in a cooler place, and especially on a mountain site, then the cooler temperatures give you complexity, and the shallow soils that you get in the mountains gives you concentration. So you can end up with a very concentrated and complex wine that has much more than just simple fruit flavors. And that's what we find that we get here year after year. We get some variations from year to year, depending upon whether it was a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler, a little bit warmer, a little bit wetter, or a little bit drier. But there's always this thread. We can recognize our wine from year to year because there's a constant flavor profile that comes through. Some years might be a little more floral, some years might be a little more spicy, but there's always that kind of profile that we recognize. Our soil here is derived from rocks that were once part of an old seafloor, an ancient seafloor. We don't have any volcanic soil here, unlike some of the vineyards in Napa. We are all old seafloor, so this in my hand is some sandstone and some shale. And the great thing about our soils is that they have a great water holding capacity and they don't have any negative features. There are some soils that have, say, too much iron, some soils that are too acid, some soils that are serpentine. Our soil just seems to be really supportive. It holds just enough water for the vines, but not too much. The water is high quality. The soil doesn't have too much iron, and we're really lucky that we picked a place that has this old seafloor. It's a great spot for Syrah.